when the Republican frontrunner remembers that it's a man named Joe Biden who he's running against and not Barack Obama. The whole basis for that campaign against Biden, as you know, is that Biden's out of it, that Biden's old and stuff, right? Trump's 77, Biden's 81. A new AP poll out today says 6 in 10 voters have worries about the mental capacity of each of them. About 57% of voters say they have that worry about Trump. About 63% say they have that worry about Biden. The margin of error in this poll is just over 4%. And so, yeah, it's kind of a tie. I think the headline here on the AP story about this today is about right. About 6 in 10 voters in America have worries about both of these old dudes maybe being too old and out of it. But that's who the two parties are running. So pick one. Right? Pick one. That's your choice. Pick one. I mean, you have lots of grounds on which to choose. They have also, both been president, which is a rare thing you get to choose from among presidential candidates. But that lets us compare them. Right? In the past 3+ years that Joe Biden has been president, we've got unemployment below 4%, best job market since, depending on how you count, the 1960s, violent crime at nearly a 50-year low. The United States has had the best economic recovery since COVID of any large country in the world. The stock market has hit record after record. More Americans have health insurance than ever before. He's standing up against Putin, who's one of the least popular figures in the world with American voters. He's fighting for reproductive rights, which is something even red state voters say they want, while Republicans are stripping those rights aggressively everywhere. He's cutting student loan debt while Republicans are trying to stop him from doing that. He has brokered and signed the biggest bipartisan infrastructure deal ever in the history of the country. Unions have never been more popular in my entire lifetime, and I'm old, and he's the first president ever to join the picket line with striking auto workers who then won their strike and then endorsed him. His Democratic Party has outperformed the polls and outperformed history in the midterms and in all of the off-year elections since he has been president. While on the other side, his opponent has been indicted 91 times. And don't forget that his opponent was just president right before this, which we remember. And even if we don't, in the 3+ years that he's been gone from the White House, we have learned some real doozies about what exactly was going on there.
The new photos released showing boxes of documents stashed in a ballroom, even a bathroom at his Mar-a-Lago home. The indictment saying among the classified documents found in the boxes, information about U.S. nuclear programs.
I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here. Let the people in. Take the effing mags away.
A $2 billion investment that former President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, secured last summer from a fund led by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia has raised questions about the ethics of post-White House business dealings.
And we're back with Cassidy Hutchinson. Cassidy, what was Mark Meadows burning every day?
Yeah, I wish I knew Nicole. There were several times I would walk into Mark's office and I would see him putting papers into the fireplace.
Eventually it culminated, the long break, simmering break between he and myself in June of 2020 when he wanted to deploy active duty troops on the street of Washington, D.C. and suggested actually that we shoot Americans in the streets.
He suggested that we deploy active duty troops in Washington and shoot Americans in the streets, says his defense secretary. And the White House chief of staff was regularly burning documents in the White House fireplaces. And the son-in-law mysteriously gets a $2 billion housewarming present from a foreign government the second he walks out of the White House. And he's stashing classified documents about America's nuclear programs at home in a bathroom and then refusing to give them back. And he's explicitly asking for armed people to be let into the crowd he was going to direct to go to Congress to overthrow the government to try to keep him in power. That's just a sprinkling of the things we have learned about his time in office since he left office. Today, there's actually another one. New reporting from Rolling Stone. Look at this headline. Trump's White House was awash in speed. And I don't mean speed as in efficiency. I mean speed as in everyone was on drugs. Who wants those guys back in the White House? Because the two major parties are going to nominate someone, and you got to pick one. Which would you prefer? You have to pick one. We're actually going to speak with the lead reporter from that Rolling Stone story in just a moment. But I will just leave you with this. There's no magic spell. There's no solution that is going to come, say, from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court did the favor of reminding us all of that today when they ruled that Trump will stay on the ballot all over the country. They gave us that reminder today after last week. They made sure we knew it in the first place when they somewhat inexplicably took action to delay all the Trump criminal trials except the one they couldn't stop until after the election. There's no magic wand coming to stop this thing. There's no, magic beans that you can grow here that make some beanstalk take us away from all of this. There's only one way out of this. Pick one. The Democratic Party has picked its nominee. Yes, it's an old guy who is doing practical, normal, and popular things as president and who has a lot to show for it, particularly in terms of how well things are going economically since he has been at the helm. The Republican Party is pretty obviously picking their guy as well, also an old guy who, for example, cannot say the word Venezuela and who has no idea who is the current president of the United States, currently riding high on his party's abortion bans and measles-curious virological denialist free associating. He's trying to warm the American people up to the idea of just a little bit of dictatorship from him. And he's getting us ready to, start building camps to hold millions, because his advisors say the deportations start at noon on day one. The courts are not going to help. The law will be a sidebar to the main decision. You will make this decision. The only way this decision will be made is by you picking one, by you volunteering and donating and campaigning and deciding it matters enough to you to not only vote, but to help your candidate try to win. The Republican Party really, really is amazing right now. But the only thing that will stop them is Democrats winning instead. Period. Full stop. Thank you, United States Supreme Court, for the clarification. The campaign, if we didn't know it already, the campaign starts now.